I'm James Newton Fordemwalt. I am retired. I'm a former professor. I received my bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona. And then I stayed on there for a master's degree in analytical chemistry and did a side part of the degree, in electrical engineering, because I was interested in electronics even back then. And then having completed that, I looked around to see what the job situation was for masters, and at that time it was very poor. So I decided to go on for a PhD. My father graduated from the University of Iowa with a PhD, so I thought that would be a good place to go. So I applied for admission to a PhD program at the University of Iowa and was admitted. And in 1960, I received my PhD in physical chemistry from the University of Iowa, Iowa City. I got out of the University of Iowa, and I started off all things with General Electric in Evendale, Ohio, their jet engine department. They were one of the developers for the atomic airplane. And what they wanted was hiring me for. I had done quite a bit of work with chemistry and with the electronics. They wanted somebody. Oh, by the way, my master's advisor was one of the Los Alamos senior scientists, and he taught all of the atomic chemistry programs. Because that wasn't necessarily a big turnout, he insisted that I attend all of his classes. So I had a backing in atomic chemistry or nuclear chemistry, in addition to just plain electronics and physical chemistry. So the folks at Evendale on the atomic airplane wanted me to find electronic components that would withstand the nuclear bombardment and the high temperatures that would be going in the atomic airplane engine's bay. And so that put me in contact with various different manufacturers of semiconductors and electronic components in general. And I wound up being quite clear, it was quite clear the atomic airplane was never going to fly. So when I had a chance to go to Motorola, I did a very brief thing with the US Semcor company, but they folded under me and Motorola let me in. I was with Motorola for quite a period of time, and by 1964, I was 63 actually, project manager of the integrated circuits group. That was just a starting thing. They were just starting up. That was the whole concept of an integrated circuit. Had only been invented 3 or 4 years earlier. So we were among the very early pioneers in it. Our vice president and general manager of the Motorola Semiconductor Products Division, Dr. Les Hogan, was convinced, quite correctly, that these computer chips, now we call them, integrated circuits we called them back then, were the future of electronics. And he wasn't going to let our department go down in flames because we were just not staying in business. So he decided and this was his moment of genius, which he was. All of the electrical engineering colleges at that time were teaching vacuum tubes, which, were pretty dead end. What we need is a textbook that we can have out there so that the electrical engineering department will teach incoming electrical engineers what integrated circuits are and what they're good for. I made an appointment with the president of McGraw-Hill, and the McGraw-Hill president practically fell out of his chair laughing. He said, "You can't sell those things. How in the world do you expect me to sell a book about them? My minimum press run is 10,000 copies, and my break-even point is 5,000 copies." So Dr. Hogan said, "How much does it cost you per book?" And he said, "It's $2 per book." And Dr. Hogan said, "That's $10,000. I'll take $10,000 out of my advertising budget and buy your first 5,000 books." So the rest is history. Here is one of the copies of it. This copy is out of the 7th printing. My number 2 son ran into this just a couple of weeks ago while he was looking for other used books in one of the used bookstores in Boise. So here it is, 60 years later, and it's still saleable. In fact, this one sold for $3.98. So tells you that the book hit the market and before it stopped, went through 10 printings. The last printing, the 10th printing, was 100,000 copies, and they all sold out. So this book is the thing that is considered to be the savior of microelectronics, the integrated circuits, computer chips. My crowning achievement was this book. Put this book together in 9 months. Dr. Hogan arranged for me to spend the mornings with the group, leading the group with making the integrated circuits, we called them then. And then the afternoons I would spend up in this office, up in a far corner of one of the new buildings that had just gone up, writing on the book. It took me 9 months to do the book. I had a lot of help from various people, including the group that worked for me, giving me inputs to put into the book. And we got the book out in 9 months. It went to print in the February of 1964. My personal achievements, one of the ones was I had wanted to be in the Air Force, but I wanted to fly in the Air Force. I didn't have quite 20/20 vision without glasses, so I went through 4 years of Air Force ROTC, and they said thanks but no thanks. So I couldn't fly with the Air Force, but you don't have to have 20/20 vision without glasses to have a private license. So I took lessons and got my private license for a pilot's license. I then went on to get an instrument rating and a multi-engine rating. And the last I belonged to clubs that had, for a number of years, just had a group of airplanes, mostly Cessnas, and I flew them, just rented them. And I decided I wanted a plane of my own, and I finally wound up buying after I got my twin engine rating, a Cessna Super Skymaster, Cessna 337 twin engine airplane, and flew that a lot. My father was a major inspiration. He got his PhD. He was a farm boy, grew up on a farm in Iowa in the late 20s, and tried to go to college, went to college off and on. He got a teacher's license. That's when he was a teacher, and my mother was a school teacher. They met at school, which is another story. But in 1938, he decided he had to get a PhD because he was tired of just being a school teacher. So we spent the whole year, 1938, in Iowa City, and he worked night and day and got his PhD in 1 year, which is, well, he had earlier courses that he added to it. So he had the requisite number of hours, credits towards it, and had his dissertation done and everything, 1939. And we moved then to Bound New Jersey, where he was just a chemist, as he put it, a dye-stuff chemist at the American Cyanamid Calco Division, which was a dye-stuff. And on December 7th, 1941, of course, I think most people remember what happened that nasty day. His younger brother, that was his favorite brother, was on the USS Pennsylvania. And my poor dad just about had a heart attack worrying about what was going to happen to John, his brother John. So on Monday morning, he went right straight down to the draft board and signed up to go into the Army. And they took the paperwork and said, okay, go home and we'll call you, we'll let you know when we need you. So he went home and went back to work, what he was working on, and he didn't hear, and he didn't hear, and he didn't hear. And finally he got a letter that said, under no circumstances are you to leave the job you are working on and join the Army. You are frozen in your present position, period. We all wondered what was going on, and we didn't know until the war was over. Well, somebody came out from the War Department, a group came out with an award and a placard for my dad. And the story was like this. During World War II, you probably remember seeing the pictures where they showed the camouflage with the cloth dyed green to match the trees surrounding it. Well, the dyes that they were using, the commercial dyes that were available in 1941, 42, had different reflectivity in the infrared than the natural tree leaves did. So the Germans figured out that real quickly, and what my dad group had done was develop a dye that had a green dye that had exactly the same reflectivity in the infrared as the natural trees did. And they said that saved thousands, maybe even millions of lives, because then the Germans wouldn't know where to drop their bombs. The legacy I want to leave is the entire microchip integrated circuit, because before I wrote that book, integrated circuits or microchips or computer chips, whatever you want to call them, were dying on the vine. And it looked like the whole thing was going to fold. But then when the book came out and the universities, electrical engineering departments were teaching it, and it was seen that they were really real, the whole thing, the whole integrated circuit thing just took off like a jackrabbit. What I really feel satisfied about is the contribution I made to modern technology. That the modern technology, all today's, depends on the microchip. For example, my little toy here, a little cell phone. What it weighs, maybe a quarter of a pound. How many transistors? It's all everything in here that happens because of a transistor. And of course, the microchips are all made up of transistors. That's what they are, microchips of thousands, millions, and billions. I'd like to be remembered as the guy that rescued and saved computer chips. On the other hand, sometimes people swear at these things so much I wonder if that's what I really want to be remembered as, and just remembered as a good guy.